A reading from the letter to the Hebrews. Brothers and sisters, you have not approached that which could be touched, and a blazing fire and gloomy darkness, and storm and a trumpet blast, and a voice speaking words such that those who heard begged that no message be further addressed to them. No, you have approached Mount Zion, and the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and countless angels in festal gathering, and the assembly of the firstborn enrolled in heaven, and God, the judge of all, and the spirits of the just made perfect, and Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and the sprinkled blood that speaks more eloquently than that of Abel. The word of the Lord.
Our second reading for this Sunday is taken from the letter to the Hebrews. We are reflecting on the theme, Choose Humility, and this comes out very clearly in the first reading from the book of Sirach. Humility is not just pleasing to the eyes of human beings who detect it in someone. Humility also pleases God. In the second reading, we have some images which may lead us to a clearer understanding of humility. While the second reading does not talk openly or explicitly about humility, I think through the interplay of images employed by the author, we are also given a deep insight into humility, especially the humility of our Lord Jesus Christ. The second reading presents to us some sort of a contrast between the old law given to the people Israel through Moses and the new law, the new covenant, which comes to us through Jesus Christ. Remember the event in the Exodus, how the law, the commandments were communicated to the people. Recall the scenery. And the letter to the Hebrews reminds the readers and the hearers, remember the untouchable mountain. You should not come close to the mountain, you will die. And then the presence of God, accompanied with blazing fire, with smoke, with trumpet blasts, even with earthquakes, with lightnings. Who would not feel afraid? You are before the great God, and the people just tremble. And they cover their faces for fear that they would die when they see God, when they touch this mighty mountain. That was part of the spiritual and religious mindset of the Old Testament times, which is not bad at all. It is part of how God is revealed, the mighty one, the one who exercises power over all. And so when His Word is revealed, then that Word is accompanied by signs of power and authority, making people feel small. But then, the letter to the Hebrews says, comes the day when the new covenant is presented to us. And the approach is quite different. Instead of this untouchable mountain that generates fear, we are being asked to approach the holy city, Jerusalem, Mount Zion, the heavenly Jerusalem. And there you find a gathering, a banquet, a sign of communion, a sign of family, a sign of peace and joy, of fluid conversation, exchange of not only stories, but also the goods of the earth. And there you have angels, messengers of God, mingling with human beings. And you find God and the mediator, Jesus Christ, the host of the meal, the mighty one, coming in the form of a simple lamb, coming in the form of the crucified servant of God, the mighty one, now hosting a banquet for everyone, but showing his humility as the one who has first offered himself as food for the soul. My dear brothers and sisters, the second reading, through the use of images, tells us that we can go to that banquet. We can eat with Jesus, who became humble. Remember the many times Jesus ate with people, especially with sinners. This is the God that we have. This is the feast that is being offered to us. It is hosted by the humble one, and we can come as poor, as simple, as sinners.